Yeah.
Obviously, protecting the ball is a key every week. But can you do more in a situation like this where you know a team has been good at it to get ready for that?
Definitely big takeaway team. As you watch them on tape, they're active. They're flying around, and it's a team that hustles. You can tell that they're well coached when it comes to getting around the ball and being around the ball. So just taking those extra steps throughout the week, as far as like being aware of. Like last week, we put it on the ground 4 times, and we got to be aware of that. We got to know that, and they're going to be aware of that as well. So just as far as like protecting the ball, not making it too much more than what it is. We had some mishaps, so just being aware of it.
Josh is 5-1 in his career against Miami. 3 times he was the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. As an athlete, as a professional athlete, are there teams sometimes that it's just a little different for whatever reason? You just tend to play a little better against them?
I don't know, because it's kind of like a slippery slope. Being 5-1 could be 5-2. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of got to play what you see, and each year is a new year. You know what I'm saying? Especially with that team, like, you saw a lot of potential with them last year. Well, I played them twice, and that's a good football team. They're well coached. They fly around. They got some guys in the back end that are, really, really, really good for us at least. So as far as like Josh, I can't speak on his behalf, but I know he's gonna sling the ball around and do what he has to do. So when it comes down to playing teams, I think I kind of had that thing when I play like teams from back home or teams like that. But each game is a new game. I'm trying to win them all.
Stefon, how do you get this offense? How does this offense get its mojo back in some ways? I mean, people were waiting for the show last week and got disappointed.
People get excited. I mean, that's part of being fans. You are excited about football. Everybody want to see the offense play extremely well. When you have a long offseason, people got time to game plan and kind of like, everybody has time to watch film and watch to see what you didn't do well and kind of what they want to do to try to attack you. So for people that want in the show, I mean, go watch, TBS or something like that. But, this is real life football. And this is people's everyday job. So for us, all we can do is control what we can control, especially from my point of view. Coming from the receiver room, people expect a lot from us. So for me, being a leader on this team, all I can do is take it one day at a time. And going into the game, we prepared and ready to play. I try not to make things more than what they are. Last week is pretty much over. You know what I'm saying? I barely even think about yesterday these days. You know what I'm saying? Because I only can control today. But I anticipate going into this game with a mindset of just everybody trying to execute and being on the same page.
What benefits though can this team draw from a negative like that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, being positive, just like always, taking a moment to be like this. What can we learn from it? What didn't we do well? What did we do well? You have a B right behind your leg, so be careful. But my bad. But taking that and just being like turning a negative into a positive. Yes, we lost. Yes, you have to get over it. Can't feel sorry for yourself. We got a new week and a new opportunity. So for me, I'd rather it happen earlier than late.
Isaiah got you guys off to a pretty good start. I know the drive didn't go the way you wanted it to, but knowing the depth that you have in the receiver room and the touches, it's not always going to be easy for him to get the ball. So for him to be able to do that in the return game and to see what that could potentially mean for this team, how big could that be for you and for him?
That's all phases. We got some very talented individuals on this team. So as far as like being able to spread the ball around in many different ways, it might not always happen that way. So special teams plays a key part. And for us, we're trying to play complementary football at all times. You know what I'm saying? And that means special teams. That means defense. So everybody on one accord, kind of just doing their job, all moving forward in the right direction. Like, he got us in field position. We need to score points right there because he's not going to get a 70-yard return every time. And when he does, we got to make it a point of emphasis to get some points. You know what I'm saying? Not just 3.
You guys, your relationship, you seem to have fun going back and forth on social media. His personality is pretty outsized. Just what's he been like as a teammate, and what's he mean to you guys in the room?
You can tell he's one of those. He's one of the heartbeats of our team. Like, he jokes a lot, and he says he's the face of the franchise and stuff like that. But just from my point of view, being here in such a short time, he definitely is one of the heartbeats of our team as far as like with his personality, what he brings to the practice field, his toughness. He's a small guy, but he's a tough. I would call him something else, but he's a tough guy. But so definitely with the energy that he brings and his personality, just it kind of shapes our team. We got some hard-nosed guys, tough guys, and the guys that came through the back door. So they're hard workers.
You're a South Florida guy in the offseason. Is he taking you to his barbecue restaurant yet down there?
No, I don't. I'm never gonna go.
Why not?
It's like, I might check him out eventually.
Stefon, it seemed like at the end of the Steelers game, you were kind of towing the line between being angry and trying to like motivate the guys and rally them a little bit. As someone who's trying to be a good leader, maybe learning a little bit, How unique, how difficult, how much of a learning experience was that for you?
I mean, for me, I kind of take it in stride because we're all human, for real. Because, you know, me, I get frustrated. I get so down on myself, and I get so down on, like, just my ability as far as, like, wishing I could do more and wanting to do more and kind of taking a moment to myself to be like this, all right, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and I can't really think too much about it because we're still in the game. But I am human, and I just still try to be positive because everything isn't going to go as planned, and we're going to have a lot of adversity even throughout this season, not just in games. And being positive is going to take me way further than, you know, kind of like thinking about it in that moment. But, I mean, being a human, you kind of want so much more. I mean, not even just for yourself, but for your team. So when you fall short or you don't accomplish your goals or don't execute at a high level, of course you're going to have a moment of being like this, damn, I wish I would have did this differently. So for me, just taking it in stride, learning, you know what I'm saying, it is definitely a new position but for me, but it's nothing that I can't handle. I got some small shoulders, but they're kind of big.
Steph, knowing who Josh is, and he talked last week after the game about having some jitters. How do you expect this guy to respond?
I mean, he's a quarterback. I mean, like I kind of like talked about being human, kind of like take it as far as that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like being a quarterback, we just got our fans back. Like, it's definitely a different game with the fans back, especially momentum shifts and just being out there. So he's a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, you expect a guy like that to bounce back always, you know, just because that's the kind of guy that he is. That's the kind of player that he is. And that's the kind of friend he is. So for me, all I can do is be there to support him. And the best way I can do that is getting open to catch the ball. So for me, I understand that the game has its ebbs and flows. And for him, all you got to do is be there for your quarterback because things aren't always going to be good, you know, as we saw in this past game. And, you know, we'll have more adversity throughout this season. But the guys that rally behind him, the guys that kind of keep him poised and keep him even killed, those are the guys that's going to make the difference for this team.
When you're learning to be a perennial playoff team, what mindset does this team need to have to win the games you're supposed to win?
Say that one more time.
When you're learning to be a perennial playoff team, consistent playoff team, what mindset does this team need to have to win the games?
That's kind of far, boss. I mean, I can give you a politically correct answer about being a playoff team, but or I can just be honest with you and say I'm just focused on the next game. You know, we'll start talking about the playoffs once we get a spot or when we get to that point. But right now, all you can do is work on that next game.
You know you have those expectations, but to take care of those division opponents, how important is that?
I mean, it's huge. You wanna win all your games. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely the ones in the division because it causes like standings and all that stuff kind of like figure itself out at the end. But for me, all I can do is control what I can control. You know what I'm saying? I'm one piece of a team, so I just try to do my job. You know what I'm saying? When we start stacking up some wins, I'll let you know. But right now we in the other column. So.
You mentioned playing in full house. I guess it's kind of easy to forget. You know, you had a few fans at the playoffs last year, and then preseason wasn't exactly full. But talking about that McKenzie return, I mean, it felt like that place was shaking during that return. What was that like for you to be full house first time as a Bill?
Like it was like what you dream of as far as like a packed stadium, loud. And you kind of take it for granted throughout my years as far as like having those packed stadiums and having that momentum shift or like that energy throughout the game. So that last year kind of made us feel like, damn, like I felt like I was on Little League when we were terrible. So coming back to it and having that refresh of just, you know, fans and having that energy and things being electrifying, it kind of brought you back to being a kid again when things were fun. So for me, I liked it. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? I just tried to stay even keel out there because it was a lot of emotions.
Was your team actually terrible in Little League?
Some of them.
What was your biggest? What was your biggest takeaway from the offense on Sunday?
We just got to execute at a higher level. You know, we did some things well. We didn't do some things well. When you watch the tape, it's never as bad as it seems. It's never as good as it seems. So for me, what we took away from it was they took a lot of the wrinkles from what other teams did to us. You know, they had a whole offseason to kind of game plan to kind of figure out what they want to do because they had a different complexion as far as like their team and how they played us years in the past. Well, last year for that matter. But for me, you kind of took that as in other teams are going to do that. You know, so going in with the right mindset of what's the plan, how are we going to do X, Y, Z, and everybody being on the same page. You know, we still did some good things well. You know, Motor had some good runs. You know. Receivers are still getting open, and you know, everybody just trying to do their job. But for me, I be trying to focus on just this small part of just receivers getting open and catching the ball and being there for Josh because it is tough out there sometimes.
It did look like a bit like what Kansas City did to you.
A little bit, huh?
Yeah. No, I mean, and do you, how how now do you go about
Yeah.
counteracting that because you've seen the same defense now essentially 2 games in a row?
That's a little bit of that's. I mean, I think that's might be a better question for Dave's.
Fair enough.
But for me, I could just get open and catch the ball.
They were able to get pressure on Josh
Yeah.
without bringing a lot of,
Blitzing.
blitzes. Yeah, and so they were able to play some coverage. A lot of that had to do with the offensive line. How do you think they'll respond in week 2?
They got. I mean, anybody knows they got probably top 2, top 3 defensive line in the league. As far as like with the addition of Melvin Ingram and T.J. Watt's a hell of a player. And Cam Hayward, I even know their D-line. You know what I'm saying? So that says a lot. But just respect to them. They have a hell of a D-line. But I still love my guys. I still feel like they can play at a high level. And I mean, I don't get on anybody, and I never make it a point to finger game. Like, it's football at the end of the day. We're gonna have some good, we're gonna have some bad. Hopefully, we can work through it and overcome adversity. But I'm looking forward to them to have a bounce back game as well. Things won't be perfect. It's not the end of the world.
Never as good as it seems. Never
Yeah,
as
bad
bad
as
as it seems.
you like that quote?
Well, I think you're the 4th person to say it just in like 3 days.
I stole it.
Is it like on post-race side?
Nah.
Or where is that coming from?
I think it's something that's just echoed, like, cause, in the moment you get so caught up in the moment and be like this, damn, like things suck, like we're not playing as well as we want to, we're not doing the things, and it's like this. Just take a moment to really, take in the fact that yes, it's the first game, yes, it's this, yes, and that. And it's not excuses. This is real life stuff. So as far as like it being football, watch the tape. Like when the first thing I got home, I drank a ginger ale. No, watch the tape. You know what I'm saying? I got in my chamber and I watched the tape. So I see the things that we did well. I see the things that we did. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I could have played a better game. I feel like I could have played faster. I feel like I was thinking a little bit. So for me, what does that tell me to do? I guess get in the lab a little bit more, study a little bit more, have more confidence in what I'm doing, and play faster.
You mentioned though,
Last one, guys.
you don't want to dwell on things.
Yeah.
That the negativity kind of takes over. So
Yeah.
how do you balance making those corrections but staying in the mindset of moving forward?
For me, I guess with my mom, when you do something bad, you get a slap on the wrist. And after that slap on the wrist, you move forward. So for me, I kind of consider it like, yeah, you did some things good. Yes, you did some things bad. How could you get better? How can you move forward? How can you be a better teammate? How can you be a better receiver? And going into your next game with those focal points, with those things in mind, for me, I keep them in the forefront after I gave myself a moment, watch the tape, and be like this, all right, you're not as bad as you think. You're not as good as you think either. So get back in the lab. Thanks, y'all.